What the hell are we doing in this province? I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. You cannot think that this is going okay. You can't think, yeah, this is exactly what I envision. I have no issue with a sitting government just making up laws, just changing legislation to suit their purpose. You can't think this is okay. So the UCP changed the legislation to allow citizens' initiatives to be easier to put forward. And then whoopsies, they saw other people putting forward these citizens' initiatives and went, no, we gotta change that. So we're just gonna strip any authority given to an independent third party that is supposed to implement rules. We're just gonna take that authority away from the chief electoral officer. And who should we give it to? I know, the justice minister. This guy. We don't care about court process. Even if things have gone to the courts, fuck it. We're just gonna change the process. Oh, and that whole Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Psh, who needs a Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Where initially, you can't have similar questions be approved to go forward for potential referendum. Not with this UCP government. We'll let all sorts of questions that we decide on to go forward, even if they're similar in nature. For example, the Forever Canadian question, should Alberta remain a part of Canada? Which has already been approved, so they can't really touch that. But then Black Hat Guy's question, should Alberta leave blah, blah, blah? Which was referred to the courts by the chief electoral officer because it violates the charter. But that doesn't matter. We're going to negate that whole thing and allow resubmission of a question for potential referendum that is on the same topic that violates the charter. Oh, and not just that, we're not going to allow for any political party to use conservative. Oh, we'll pretend like it has to do with any political party that is copying the name of any other political party. But really, we're trying to keep ourselves as the only conservative party. Oh, and we're going to backdate that to July. So even the Alberta Party, which potentially is getting usurped by the MLAs the UCP kicked out, no, you can't use the term progressive conservative because they don't want progressive conservatives in Alberta. They only want united conservatives in Alberta. But not just that. Powers and controls by independent third parties that oversee professions don't get to decide what that profession needs. Nope. Who's going to get to decide? This guy. But not just that. This guy, who is in bed, probably literally, with the Tylenol family, all the corruption, the contracts, the buildings, the millions and millions of wasted dollars. Well, he's decided that a person who is or has been Attorney General of Alberta can never be subject to sanctions in carrying out the duties and functions of the Attorney General. This guy has given himself and all of his peers immunity. Let's just recap a few of the past Attorney Generals of Alberta. Casey Madhu, under investigation. Tyler Shandro was under investigation. Jonathan Dennis, I think he's still under investigation. All cons. Literally all cons. But they're not going to be subject to sanctions from the Law Society for shady shenanigans in executing their duties. I don't think it's your duty to try and get out of a distracted driving ticket by calling your buddy at the cop shop. I don't think it's part of your duty to run up on someone's driveway and start freaking out. Don't even get me started on all the shenanigans with Jonathan Dennis. But don't worry, future, current, and past attorney generals, you're fine. Where is any accountability, transparency, independence of decisions, now that this current UCP and its attorney general are trying to hold on to all of the power? All of it. Any of the power. Again, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, because theoretically this could be used by anybody in power. You can't tell me this is okay. Y'all pulled a honking train when someone asked you to get a little shot. But you're all okay with this absolute abuse of power and authority. Forget all the other shitty bills that they're trying to put forward. Restricting people's rights, forcing people into poverty, putting people's lives in danger. Forget that, because that doesn't impact you, right? But having the justice minister be able to do whatever the fuck he wants, rightly or wrongly, mostly wrongly, to be immune from any consequence? The fuck is happening here? Now look at, I know things are bad. But all of this trying to hold on to power, really tells me that the UCP is worried. Because if you were secure in your position, your decisions, you wouldn't need to flex like this. But you put forward legislation, amend legislation, and then change it again. And now you're going to violate the charter to appease your separatist buddies because you don't trust what the courts are going to do in potentially dismissing their question because it breaches the charter. So you're going to allow them to resubmit, make that pesky court thing go away, so that their question can then potentially get the signatures to go to referendum. Tell me again how you're not a separatist party. Tell me again about your sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. Because Danny, you seem to be saying that as if Alberta is still a part of Canada, but I'm starting to believe it's emphasis on the sovereign part while the rest of Canada stays united. You're really pushing for that worst premier ever in all of Canada. Ever! And before I get the fan yells in the comments, before you write anything, I want you to give me 3 things in your life that have gotten better under the UCP. Or don't bother commenting at all. Trudeau was a dictator. Trudeau was a fascist. Welcome to Dictatorville, where your healthcare is shit, you'll go broke paying for it, and the government can do whatever the fuck they want with no consequence. Yeah, that's working out well for everybody.